Rob Dauster here from the field of 68, and we need to talk about some news that has not quite become official yet, but the rumors that have been swirling for weeks received a certain level of legitimacy on Thursday afternoon when Travis Branham of 24/7 Sports reported that G.G. Jackson, the number one player in the class of 2023 and a North Carolina commit, would be decommitting from the Tar Heels, reclassifying in to 2022 and enrolling this fall at South Carolina. It is the Jalen Duren plan, essentially. GG is going to go play at Peach Jam. Then he's going to reclassify. Then he's going to head off to college in the fall. Amani Bates did the same thing last year as well. And the differing paths of those two players, I think, are a perfect example of just how varied some of the results are when it comes to these reclassifications. Jalen Duren had just about as much success as I think you could ask of him in his 1 year at Memphis for a guy that was only 18 years old. He is a physical freak, a rim running five that pounds a glass, that blocks some shots and throws down thunderous dunks as a roll man and ball screen actions. He was the number one player in the class of 2022 before reclassifying, but that was almost by default because that class was just not very good. It had more to do with the class than it had to do with Jalen Duren himself. He ended up getting picked 13th in the draft. And while he probably could have gone a little bit higher, things gone a little bit differently for him, he is headed to Detroit. He's going to go play with Jaden Ivey. He's going to go play with Cade Cunningham. And while he did not get picked in the top half of the lottery, he did not get picked in the top five. He landed in a great spot for him that I do believe means things are going to work out well. He's going to be just fine. He's going to make a lot of money. Amani Bates, not so much. He was a disaster in his 1 year at Memphis. I don't think that is calling it too much. They were better off when he was not on the floor. They were better off when he took that back injury vacation before coming back for the NCAA tournament. And after a long and drawn out transfer process, he ended up committing to Eastern Michigan in the Mid-American Conference, at least partly due to the fact that some of the high major programs that were chasing him didn't really want to give him the kind of free reign that he was looking for from a basketball team and a basketball program in this upcoming season. Jackson, as a player, is not like either of those two guys. He is a combo forward, a guy with a developing perimeter ability, a toolsy 6'9" wing that can do all of the switchable stuff that NBA JMs love defensively, while also providing some measure of post offense, some measure of rim running ability, and some measure of the ability to step out on the floor and make plays on the perimeter. Eric Bossy, a guy that I respect greatly from 24/7 Sports and who probably has the best resume of any high school scout currently doing it, he has said that he compares G.G. Jackson to former Kansas forward Darrell Arthur, who was a national champion with the Jayhawks and who would have been a high lottery pick if it was not for some health issues that came out before he got drafted. Now, I don't want to get too into the weeds of what actually happened behind the scenes during this recruitment. It's tough to parse through what is rumor. It's tough to parse through what is fact. It's tough to differentiate what is spin in a situation like this. Everybody's going to have their own story to say, but I think it is suffice to say that this was a complicated process, right? GG didn't want to go the prep route. He had options with G League Ignite and Overtime Elite, and those weren't good fits, I think is the best way to probably phrase it. And then North Carolina went out and they added Pete Nance last month. Now, Nance is a guy that is going to fill the role that GG would have slotted very nicely into with this North Carolina lineup. But frankly, I think Pete Nance is going to be a better player this season than Jackson would have been in that very role. And I don't think that's a controversial take. Look, Nance is a senior that has proven he could do all of the things at the Big Ten level that he's going to need to do for this North Carolina team this season. He's going to be their fourth option offensively. He was Northwestern's fourth option offensively last year, and he still managed to put up 14 points and 7 boards and shoot as well as he did from three and do the things that he did defensively, despite the fact that he was playing with, I don't think I want to be mean here, but a bunch of bums in the backcourt instead of Caleb Love and RJ Davis. He was playing with a bunch of bums down low instead of playing with Armando Bacot. So Pete Nance going to be an absolutely terrific fit for North Carolina here. And there's a reason why I can understand that Jackson would not want to reclassify and go and sit on the bench behind Leaky Black and Pete Nance. I get that. Jackson is a reclassifying freshman, and the track record of freshmen enrolling a year early is not great. Perhaps the most successful recent example that I can think of is probably Anthony Edwards, right? He reclassified out of the class of 2020. He enrolled at Georgia, and he enrolled in the class of 2019, where he had something of an up and down freshman season and ultimately culminated in him being picked number one in the 2020 NBA draft over the likes of LaMelo Ball and a couple other people. If he had stayed in the class of 2020, I doubt that he would have gone number one because he would have competed against the likes of Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Jonathan Kuminga. There was a ton of talent at the top of the 2021 NBA draft. Jackson is doing, well, he's doing the exact opposite of what Anthony Edwards did, right? He's leaving a class where he had a very real chance of being a top pick, at least on paper, to go and try to compete with the likes of Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, two of the most tantalizing prospects that we've seen in the last decade to try to be the number one pick. And I don't even know if he's going to end up being top 5 or top 10. Guys like the Thompson twins, guys like Derek Lively, Nick Smith, Brandon Miller, Cam Whitmore. These are terrific prospects that are at least on par with what GG Jackson could end up being this season. And that's to say nothing of the fact that Jackson is going to be walking into a situation where he will be asked to be the man on a roster that has turned over this offseason because Frank Martin was fired. Now, look, I like Lamont Paris. I think that he's going to end up being a good coach there. I think he is a good hire. I think he'll do as well as you can at that South Carolina program. But asking a guy like GG Jackson, who is not necessarily a go-to scorer, to come in to an SEC program and not only carry the load, but prove himself as a high-end lottery pick is a lot to ask, right? That is a lot. And let's put this into context. Okay. Charles Bediaku last year, starting 5-man for Alabama. He averaged 6.7 points and 4.3 boards. He was an all SEC freshman player. He made the all SEC freshman team. That is a good league. It is hard for freshmen to walk in there. It is hard for anybody to walk in there, especially if you're reclassifying and you're supposed to be a high school senior. It is hard to go and have an impact in that conference. It is a very, very good, talented, big, long, athletic league with pros all over the place. Jackson is going to be asked to carry that load for this team and turn this season around and turn this this South Carolina program around. And not only will he not have a full summer's worth of SEC strength and conditioning work to be able to get him ready, but he is not a guy that can kind of go get his own like Edwards can. Worst case scenario, you give Edwards a rock, and you just say, go make a shot, go make a play, go make something happen. We saw him score 33 points and a half against Michigan State. GG Jackson ain't doing that. I wish Jackson the best. I truly, truly do. And it's not lost on me the financial benefits that come with starting your NBA contracts a year early, right? Whatever Jackson could end up giving up here by getting drafted a couple of slots, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks lower than he would have if he had gone in the 2024 draft instead of trying to go for the 2023 draft, he can make up for that on the back end by adding an extra year once he kind of gets to that max level deal and once he gets to that 4-year, $125 million contract level, assuming that he ends up getting there, because that's not necessarily a guarantee, right? It's not a guarantee that players that reclassify in his ilk end up having that kind of an impact when they get to college or when they get to the pro level. Look, if this is what he thinks and this is what his family thinks is the best thing for them, I wish them nothing but the best. I would be lying, though, if I said that I wasn't disappointed that we won't be able to see Gigi playing in Carolina Blue during the 2023-2024 season, because that, my friends, would have been a lot of fun. But listen, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. All of those interactions really do help us grow this channel. And make sure you go find us. We are on TikTok at The Field of 68 and on Instagram at The Field of 68. See the links below.